I am no. I have immense fear. This kind of alcoholic kind of reminds me like.
What your mouse?
It kind of reminds me of like the.
No, you can, but I'll take you through.
Is that just a swiper? You know what I mean?
You actually have a mouse and you can put
Yes. So let's go ahead and
literally a tiny
that. We
computer.
don't want to do that. Let's just push the calculator button for now. Boom. Okay. All right.
Can I click stuff?
So here's the, in general, I have some names for you. So if you've been in this ball game before with the TI Inspire, like Daniel's working on this, I am going to pause this for a second and I'm going to resume the class, which I think means that you have the option to log in. If I have the class started, then you can log in. And so your names, your usernames are, for example, I have Daniel, and I have Max is just Max, and it's all lowercase. Zoe, lowercase. If your name's really long, I didn't add the whole thing. And your password is 1234. Now I want to show you a few things before you try to log in, okay? I'll show you in just a sec. So we're going to actually log into a wireless network where all the calculators are connected to it through, yeah, go ahead.
The yellow thingy.
Through the yellow dongles. And but I want to talk about how things work for a second, okay? So take a look at your, take a look at the calculator for a second, and I want to just show you. If you have not used an Inspire is a little bit different than other calculators because it's really an interface where you can put documents into a calculator and work with a calculator. There's 3 buttons that are kind of very important, and let me highlight them, and I want you to find them on the calculator. This button right here is very important, okay? This button right here is very important. This button right here is very important. And this button right here is very important. Now let me talk about each of them. This button right here kind of has a calculator. It looks like a calculator. That will always take you to the calculator screen. Have you ever picked up one of these and you go, oh my gosh, I just pushed a button and I ended up in a place and I didn't know how to get back? This takes you to the calculator screen. And if you click on it, it'll toggle, yeah, go ahead and click on it. It'll toggle back and forth between the calculator screen and the graphing screen. Okay? That's all that button does. So you can do one of 2 things. So go ahead for a second. This is the graphing screen. And if I wanted to, I could graph an equation up there. So I could graph like 2 times x plus 3. And if I hit enter, it'll graph that line. So if I'm in the graphing screen, it'll do graphing. And then to toggle back to the calculator, I just push the calculator screen. And now I can do computations like 4 times 5. And if I hit enter, it'll give me that value.
How do I enter like the whole thing with the graph? How do I do that?
Well, we're not going to worry about the graph today. Let's worry about one thing. I just want you to be able to, here's my 2 goals for the day, is to be able to get you to log on to the network so that we can look at each other's calculators, and that we can move back and forth to the calculator screen. Okay? So, Carly, what's your question? You came up with a funny screen that's asking for your name and that.
You know it.
So, push on the calculator button again, and it should take you back to the calculator. Oh, hit cancel then. Is there a cancel button on it?
Oh, okay.
Could we see the username?
But you still need
Okay.
to log in.
Now,
I know, but she says not to log in.
let me do a couple more things, okay? Let me show you a couple more things that are going to be useful.
What?
Now, is everybody okay with the calculator screen? What does this little button do? It takes me back and forth between a graphing calculator and a thing for operations. Is that all right? Now, the other button that takes me somewhere every time is this little home button. If I click on the home button, it will delete that. I'm going to clear my ink. I'm going to click on the home button, and it'll take me to this screen. Now, this screen is
the on? Yeah.
the home and the on button with the little house.
Okay.
Now, this screen will take me, I can access the graphing calculator or the calculator, I can start a new document. These are actually separate commands. This is the calculator and the graphing calculator. It does the same thing as this little button right here if I push A or B. And then I can do new documents. I can store documents in here. I can look at recent documents. The thing that we're kind of interested in right now is settings. Because settings is where you're going to be able to access the network and log in. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and push 5 instead of using the cursor because the cursor gets a little old for me. Okay, so I'm going to push the 5, and what I want to go down to is the login. And so I'm going to push 5 again. Okay, so if I push 5 and 5, it's going to take you to this spot.
5 now?
5
And 5, okay.
and 5. It'll take you to this, and let me show you your class. Okay, I need to cancel. Okay,
Gabby.
so I'm going to go to the class, and I have the class, this class started, and so notice that Sharon is the pro, and so she's already logged in. That's her name. And she logged in with 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I look at this, you can put in your name. Your username is right here. So Zoe should be able to just type in Z-O-E. Zanel, I think I spelled your name correctly. Z-I-N-E-L.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to enter that as your username. And then you're going to put in the password 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, once you do that, so put in your username and your password.
The
Does
username
anybody?
is just Hadass, right?
It's just Hadas. And 1, 2, 3, 4.
And log in?
It doesn't work for me.
And
I'm logged in.
It's like, oh, there we go.
Daniel, did you get in this time?
Logged in.
No, I have a network error.
Hold on.
Have you tried wiggling the dongle? The dongle?
The dongle.
I mean, that's the deal. I mean, sometimes this is. I'm not quite certain why you're.
It just doesn't let me log in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It just gives me
If
You're logged in, yay.
Okay, there we go.
okay, I'm getting. Did you get logged in?
Disgusting.
Trying to.
Max
Okay.
doesn't have a. Yeah, he does. It's Max.
Max has a Max.
Yo.
Oh wait, he's
Where?
not.
It's not there. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have.
Makes sense.
Let me add you, Max, and see if I can. Okay.
Eli.
Max P. Max. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boop. Okay, try it again. Who else is in there? Daniel, you're my lone.
Companion.
No, it's not working.
Yeah. I'm not.
Grab another calculator.
Yeah, I want you to go ahead
Sure,
and
can I
grab
try
another
now?
calculator for now and see if you can make that one work. That will really puzzle me if we can get another calculator to work, but yours
Max, you're
doesn't.
in.
Max, you're in. Now, the thing that's super cool about this, let me just show you, and you've probably already, if you've seen it before, cancel. Is I can actually send you content. I can send you activities to do, which is kind of fun. So, like, I could push an application to you by sending it in this. And the other thing that I am able to do is to send quizzes to you if I wanted to. What is it that I really want to do? I want to take I can take a screenshot of the entire class, and I can see what's on your screen. And the thing that's nice about that
Oh my god.
is that, so for example, so what are you writing on your screen? Is that like something I shouldn't know?
It's not mine.
Who is this?
Hadass.
Hadas.
Josh!
What is this? What does this mean? Okay, so I guess but I can look at your screens and that's it.
I didn't
Okay.
there.
I'm too smart for that.
I don't.
Don't get trapped. Hey, so people, here's
Wait, what did I do?
Daniel. Did you get logged
I
in?
posted like half of the first thing. Wait, I'm gonna.
Okay, that's something wrong with the way I'm doing it because you're working fine in Miss Isaki's class, right?
This one's network. It's connected to the network. This one is just giving me a network.
Okay, I'll have to fiddle with that because I want to be able to figure out how to get anybody who has their own device to access that. Okay, so go ahead and take a second, and what I'd like you to do is to go to your calculator, and I'm going to view the calculator screen, boom, documents, there we go. Now there's a couple of things that I want to point out on the calculator. So with me, if you would, go ahead and push the computer or the calculator icon. It should take me there. Okay? Now, let's say there's a couple of things that if I get into this that is a little bit different, okay? So the next buttons that I want to show you anytime, and if you've been using this in Algebra 2, you're going to know this already, but let's make sure we're all on the same spot.
Where are we going?
Here's what we're doing, is notice that right over here in this location, I have a thing that's called trig. And if I click on that, it gives me all the trig ratios. It gives me the trig values and then the inverse functions.
What's
So I have
CSC?
these are some, they're called the reciprocal trig functions, and it's such as the cosecant, which is the reciprocal of the sine, the secant, which is the reciprocal of the cosine, and the cotangent, which is the reciprocal of the
Oh,
tangent.
sounds like fun and a huge mess, okay.
Now, because when you think about it, now you asked, and so I just told you, but I wasn't going to bring those up, but here's the deal, is that you know how the sine is the ratio of the opposite over the hypotenuse?
The hypotenuse or the opposite?
Yeah, it's just the reciprocal of it.
Right.
Now, here's the inverse function, it's the sine and the cosine. Now, take a look at your calculator. I want to show you something really quick on there. What does your calculator say up in this location?
Dig.
Dig, dig, dig. Dig.
Degrees.
Does yours say rad? Do you know how to change it?
Rad plus
Okay.
rad is when you make the graphing thing.
So, if I want to change to degrees, I go to menu. I go to home. And I go to settings, and I go to document settings. And if I go to document settings, I get to choose whether my angle is radians or degrees. And I also get to set whether it's a floating decimal and how many digits will be left in the decimal. So I could have a floating decimal where the calculator chooses. I could choose to float 2 decimals. I could have a fixed decimal length. So, for example, if I always wanted 3 decimals, I could fix it to 3.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
different places.
Yeah.
So what can we choose when it comes to the angle?
So, what you want to choose when it comes to the angle is you want to choose degrees. And then once you choose degrees, go down to the bottom and say Make Default. So that's how you change back and forth. And what you should notice, if you push your calculator button again, is it should say degrees up in the upper right area.
What?
Okay?
Wait, so how many do we put for the display digit?
Say again?
Display digit.
I just leave mine floating like 6, and then I choose 3.
Oh, no.
Is everybody there? You guys
still
still-
rad.
Did you make default? Okay.
Oh, I think I forgot to save it basically.
Okay, so check making default.